Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, friend.
How's it going?
It's been a minute.
Been a minute in a minute. I don't know any other lyrics because I can't remember any of them.
Yeah, I was like, you were kind of jamming to the Lizzo album when it came out, though, right?
Yeah.
She's queen.
Absolutely. Did I tell you that I think the reason why I can't memorize lyrics is trauma, damage to the brain?
It's brain damage. It's brain damage. No big deal. Cece's already over us and has gotten off the bed.
I told you it was either you stay or you
go.
She was
sitting here for like 30 minutes, and then the second we press record, she gets up.
She's like, wow, the opportunity for the attention to be on me is over, so I'm over y'all.
So I feel obligated as Americans to bring this up. We're not football people, but what did you think about the Rihanna Bowl?
I thought you were going to say, Happy President's Day.
Oh, no. I actually didn't even know it was President's Day.
And I was going to be like, shots to Abe Lincoln.
Brandon. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That's how we celebrated President's Day in college. We'd always go out and have shots to Abe Lincoln.
Oh, my God. Anyways, you went out for the Super Bowl.
I did.
You had a super good time?
It was fun. I immediately went home after the halftime show was done.
This is so stupid. So I was at work obviously I work Sundays until 4. And like middle of the day, I'm thinking like, dang, I wonder like what the score is. And I look it up and I'm like, it doesn't even start till 5:30. I was like, this game doesn't even start till like an hour and a half after I'm off work.
Well, we were out to brunch at like Lush, so it's like a gay bar dinner theater thing, and the second that game starts, they just put it on at volume 7,000. I'm like, I feel like I'm being hate crimed in a gay establishment. Like I could see like putting the game on quietly.
Yeah, like it's on one of the screens.
Yeah,
it was huddle over there.
Every single screen. I mean, yeah, and then you flip it over on the halftime show, every single one, volume 400 million. But
I was kind of bummed out because, okay, I was aware of the Super Bowl hours in advance, right? Still, I'm like, okay, let me check the score again. And I see on the Google that it is done after quarter 2. I'm like, shit, it's time for Rihanna. I don't really know how the channels work. I honestly don't even know if I have cable. I don't know. I have a smart TV, right? I just use the apps on it. It defaults to the Bob Ross channel, so maybe that does mean I have cable. I don't know. Like, I don't know how it works, you guys. I'm dumb, okay? I'm like I'm flipping through. Where's the Super Bowl? I've got to see it. I Google what channel is the Super Bowl on, you know? And when you look up what channel,
like CBS.
Yeah, it's like here's your 10 options. I can't find a single one. I can't find them anywhere. I'm looking at like the logos and everything.
Roku has like this free TV, but it doesn't have your local channels. It's just like some weird cable channels and like their own weird Roku channels.
I don't know. So anyways, I'm like, well, I've got to be able to watch on YouTube. I mean, you can watch anything on YouTube. Shocker. Oh my God, Cece, I don't know if you guys can hear her. She's meowing in the background like she's being tortured.
Oh my God, she is a menace.
So I'm like, I'm panicking. I'm like, which one do I do? Which one do I do? And of course, every live stream I'm picking, the first one I pick, it's a view of the outside of the arena. So it is just showing me
a live stream of the arena.
Yeah, it's showing me a live stream of the outside of the building.
This is what you would see if you didn't get a ticket.
And I'm like, God damn. And then I see another. And you know what? All of these live streams that I'm pulling up are like, you can't watch on here because of copyright reasons. So go in the chat and click the link. And it's a live stream of that screenshot. That's like in Comic Sans. It says go click the link, and it's like it's spelled wrong. I posted it on my story. If you saw my story that day, and I was like, I'm just trying to watch Rihanna. It shows the score, and then it says click the link, and it says link wrong or something. So eventually, I find bless her. I find the girl who's doing the sign language.
And
I find the interpreter.
Feel like that was the better version to be watching.
I'm trying not to be loud because Brenda's right next to in the room next to us trying to like work and whatnot. Wonder what that's like.
Right.
I'm hardly working. Just kidding. I'm a hard worker. Hire me. I'm like, okay, like she's actually really good. I'm like, this is so fun.
Oh my God, I would have been just watching the interpreter the entire time.
I was watching her the whole time because you know what? I could see Rihanna like behind her, like over her shoulder, but they also like have it on the screen like close up of Rihanna. It's off. It's not like in the background you can see what's going on, and the screen, Rihanna's lips are not matching what's going on.
So like the interpreter's live,
yeah, but the actual Rihanna is not. And I'm like, this is kind of confusing. And then I'm like, she pregnant? I missed obviously she didn't do a huge reveal at the beginning. Like she just kind of went like that, and like I heard the camera people didn't know either, so no one really made a big deal out of it because they didn't know.
Rihanna made a big deal about how she's not going to bounce back. She's going to take her time and be slow about it, and she doesn't care. She's like, I like being fat, so I'm just going to do what I want to do. So I was like, is she pregnant, or is she just still like, having post-baby body?
I'm like, wait, huh? And I look it up, and I'm like, oh my God, she's pregnant, because it's still in the middle of the performance. There haven't been like news articles out yet, which is annoying. I'm like, okay, I need real time. What are people saying? Like,
Twitter. I'm seeing.
I deleted Twitter when there was even an inkling about Elon Musk owning it. Delete.
Now it should suggest his tweets all the time, and I'm just like, and he posts some unhinged shit.
Isn't that his full-time job? Is to just like shit post online? Know. Anyways, let's talk about plants. Everyone's here for the pings, and they're like, what are you guys talking about?
Well, I think they're probably here for Rihanna too.
Everyone's here for Rihanna.
I will say though, unpopular opinion, I was a little bit after I had someone like explain the imagery and everything after, it made more sense, but I thought the performance wasn't as good as it could have been if she would have not been pregnant, because she's a phenomenal performer. Kids. But the crotch goblins ruin everything.
I will say, if you guys are not on TikTok, the lore of the background dancers is chef's kiss. I mean, now you're seeing all the videos of these people. They're going through their outfit. They're showing you, like, I don't know. I'm seeing so many videos of the background dancers.
And also they're just like fucking regular 20-year-olds.
Yeah, I'm like, these aren't like...
who are you people?
They are... Here's the thing. Guess what? People from my like high school were... in the Justin Timberlake performance a couple years back. What? Because remember when he was here, he performed at US Bank Stadium, and they always like the background dancers and like the people who are in the show are generally people from the area where the Super Bowl is. So like the next Super Bowl is in Vegas. If you live in Vegas, you have a way better chance of like being in the Super Bowl, whatever. He used instruments and stuff, like people who were in marching band, and they used people from the U of M marching band to be in there. I was supposed to be in that fucking marching band. That was like my dream. I did make it to the school, but I was like too scared to do the marching band. I don't remember why I didn't. I don't know.
Extracurriculars were scary in college. I didn't do them until my senior year.
It's also very demanding. I mean, how can you expect to have good grades and also like be going to practice every single day too, and have a job? What the fuck?
Especially marching band. That's like more of a physical commitment than a sport.
I remember when I was at Eau Claire, actually, that is when they finally argued to make marching band a gym credit.
Yeah, because like I remember like sitting out in like the art building lawn because we had to like paint, but it was always my class was like during the practice, and I was like, they are like
dying.
Doing drills, they're like sprinting, they're like carrying a tuba while you run. Are you kidding me?
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I was dying with my little piccolo, which weighs nothing, just carrying myself around the field. Also, when you are like new to marching band and you haven't ever marched before, generally the consensus is when you're on the field and like it's real performance time. Now she's meowing outside the door.
She's a nightmare.
Generally, they're like the moves and the drill is more important. You have to look better, because there are so many people out there that know how to play. They know, like, they have it memorized. Like, just let them play and just be where you need to be. And that's pretty much what I did. I didn't really play a whole lot.
You don't even have to blow into your instrument.
Yeah, I literally just like had it like da, 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 da. Here I go. Okay, what's our topic today, Brandon? It's a long time coming.
Pinguiculas.
Ping time. Talking about the pingdom. I think it's a good time, too. I feel confident, and we have shit to say. I love them. I don't know. It's one of my favorite things. Like, honestly, it's one of my just, like, favorite plants of all time now.
They're just the most fun.
Like, if I had to get rid of, like, all my houseplants and only grow pings, like, sure, I would be kind of sad because I love all my foliage, but, like, I just love my pings so much.
That's the straightest thing you've ever said.
Really?
I could only grow carnivorous plants.
I really I don't really love all the other carnivorous plants.
I do like carnivorous plants, but they're demanding. But I was going to send it to you. I don't think I did. Vice just released a carnivorous plant article about how it like ruins people's lives. Like they get just so into it and they like go bankrupt and just like all this crazy stuff.
Oh my fucking God. Now I got to see this shit.
And you don't have to read it. You can have it narrated. They'll read it to you. I listened to it when I think I fell asleep halfway through it because I listened to it when I was laying in bed.
So some people who are confused, you may have not heard the word ping before. You may have only heard them referred to as butterworts. I'm actively trying to change that. You're doing a pretty good job. I hardly ever refer to them as such because I think it's a gross name. I think it sounds like it's out of Harry Potter, and I don't like it.
A butterbeer wart thing.
Like butterwort? Like, no.
If butter wasn't in front of it, I would probably also... I'm very neutral to the word. I like
Wart?
ping easier because it's just one... You know me.
Ping.
I'm very easily inconvenienced, and I only want one syllable. Butterwort, that's 3. That's 300% more work.
Pinguicula? Is that 4? Pinguicula?
Yeah. So I don't say that either. You know me. I abbreviate everything.
If you guys have listened to us for a while, you probably have heard me like try to say it before. I used to say Pinguicula. It's Pinguicula. I mean, that's what I say now. I haven't like... I don't often hear other people say it, obviously, but I think that's correct. I don't know. But I also like to call them pings. If you hear them called butterworts, that is the same thing. I remember Maya at PQ was finally able to like order some in bulk, and she's like, I hope I got the right thing. They're called butterworts. And I'm like, yeah, you're good. That's the same thing. I'm like, that's like calling a Sansevieria like a snake plant. Like it's the same thing. And that's that. Anyways, I have a couple little excerpts. Is that the word? Pinguicula can be found in North, Central, and South America, in Greenland, in most parts of Europe, and at the very northwestern tip of Africa, and in some scattered areas in Asia. Oh. They're kind of all over the place.
But also Greenland? Wow.
Because most ping species originate from cold to very cold habitats at high altitudes or high latitudes, for example. Only southeastern USA and Caribbean species live under like warm climates. So like a lot of like Mexican Pinguicula. So there are a lot of like temperate species. There's like protected species, I think, up in like Lake Superior, right?
Oh yeah, there's lots of
up there.
There's in the boundary waters.
Yeah, they're kind of like scattered throughout. Like they're not really prolific where they are. Like they really are kind of like scattered in their little colonies that they call them.
I was like thinking like, oh, maybe we should go on like an adventure and go find some in the wild. And then I was like, that would like require us to like actually hike.
Yeah, I'm like that. We're not just gonna find them.
That's not just like, oh, you get out of your car and walk down a little trail a little bit. That'd be like
unless you guys know where, if, like the locals always help us out. If you know where we could actually like low effort find some, we promise we won't steal them. They are a little bit more difficult to take care of. I think the ones that are like not tropical.
Yeah.
I think they're more. I don't know. I think it's that they're more specific about their dormancy. They're not as like random as like Mexican Pinguicula or like tropical ones, or maybe I just made that up. I don't know. But let's go over the care. I think that they're the easiest carnivorous plant to care for, but that's me.
I completely agree. All of mine struggle carnivorous plant wise, but my pings never do.
Mm-hmm. And you let them dry out.
I let mine completely. And like a lot of times they're just like crisped.
They're like, please water me or I'm gonna die tomorrow.
Like, you know, I hate touching them because they're so oily, and then
they're slimy.
And then the ones that are so dry, they're just like, I'm like, oh no, there's not a single drop of oil on here. Here, have some for my face.
Is it butterwort that means greasy little one, or is it Pinguicula?
I think it's Pinguicula.
Yeah, in Greek, right? I don't remember.
So.
It means greasy little one, and you were like, yeah, that checks out because they are greasy. They feel very slimy when they're in their carnivorous stage, and you like touch them. I mean, it doesn't feel sticky. Like I always describe. And
most of them aren't that bad. There's just a few that I have where it's just like if it even slides against me.
If I graze up against it, I'm like, oh. And some of mine get really full, so if I touch it, I almost always have a bug on me. Then it's so gross. But yeah, so I describe them as being kind of like a sticky trap, and that's kind of how they work, but they aren't necessarily sticky. Like when we touch them, like sure, like there's going to be some like goopy goop that like pulls apart, kind of like cheese when you're pulling apart a grilled cheese. I don't know, that's the only way I can think of. And it just feels slimy. It's not sticky at all.
It's just like oily, and bugs get like trapped in oil.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are really shocked to hear that they can have pests And I'm sorry to break that to y'all. Carnivorous plants in general are not immune to pests. Like they catch bugs, but they're not immune to getting because pests and bugs to me are different things.
Well, especially with pings, that's the one that kind of shocks me. I'm like, how?
It is kind of crazy.
Watching a thrip just crawling about on it, it's no big deal.
Yeah, they just swim through it. I know that Blake, local plant person, has dealt with aphids on them.
Well, aphids are kind of bigger, so maybe.
And I've had spider mites on them, and people are like, what? Like, spider mites are so tiny. How do they not get stuck? I mean, and sometimes you might think that you have webbing on them, and it might literally just be from them growing and getting stuck on each other, and then there's just strings. Yeah. But the way that I see all the webbing more is I just grab my spray bottle and mist lightly over it, and then you can just see all of it.
The beating.
But honestly, I've had mine have had a couple of them. I've had spider mites for quite some time, and they are growing just fine.
I feel like they grow so fast. They could probably outgrow spider mites.
Mm-hmm. And plus, so I have done one beneficial bug release with them. I'm going to do another. I ordered some different kinds because I'm I don't think the last ones were really the right ones. I think I got too many soil mites and not enough that are going to be on the leaves and stuff.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, just spraying them down and having good airflow, making sure they're watered. I mean, it's just been keeping them at bay. It's not spreading to any of the other ones. They're not getting worse. It doesn't seem like. But the ones that have had thrips, unfortunately, they don't really come back from them. It's hard because, you don't want to spray a bunch of chemicals on the ping.
Yeah.
Because,
they'll just absorb the chemies.
But I have looked through, the place where I'd go to get that information would be from either Carnivorous Plant website or the Ping Facebook group, and ask them hey, what do I specifically do? What do you use to treat yours? Because I'm only going to listen to people that have actually done it to their plants. Because there are some people do have mild chemicals that they use and they claim it's fine. But I don't know. Some of mine I just don't care that much about.
Well, I will say throwing them in the fish tank does not work. They immediately fall apart and rot.
Yeah, that's the one thing about them is some people will water them too much on the actual ping, and Sam said that she thinks she was doing that too much because once she let up on that and started just watering around them or bottom watering, she's like, oh my god, they're so much happier. Yeah, they can get crown rot. It's kind of crazy. For liking more wet conditions, it's weird that they can rot. But you can rot any plant. You can rot a pitcher plant.
You can rot kelp.
Ew, I bet that's stinky.
Actually, I know all those pitcher plants were rotted. I had to repot all of them.
I still haven't repotted mine. I don't know how. They're just they're getting pretty big. They got a little crispy.
Well, my issue is that they won't grow new roots, but they'll keep growing new leaves. And I'm like, grow some new roots, because then they'll keep growing leaves, and then eventually there's just no more roots and they die. And I'm like, okay, cool.
It's rude. But care. So I actually don't have mine in super high humidity conditions. There are, you can have them in terrariums. They do obviously really great. They grow in high humidity conditions generally, but it's not one of those plants where it's gonna die and crisp up if it's not in high humidity, So some people are able to have them in a bright windowsill. They're obviously not going to get a very bright color because there's some that turn pink or purple, which I just love. How fun is it?
See, I like to keep mine in the case because it's the only place where I can keep them close enough to a light to get them to sun stress.
Mm-hmm. And y'all, I'm talking close to these lights. There are some people who have really powerful grow lights, and they have their pings just inches away.
Yeah, they even mine, they're not that colorful, and they're a foot from the light.
Yeah, mine aren't even mine. And I also feel like mine are pretty close to the light, and seeing pictures of other people's and how intensely colored they are, I'm like, wow, mine aren't getting any light. Also, mine are just under Barinas. They're not under any fancy grow lights. Some people have some crazy grow lights in these carnivorous plant groups. Like
that light I have in the tent downstairs, I had to turn it down to 40% because it was just toasting all the plants in there.
It's too much. And then you're like, okay, all of you have to be down here. I'm like, I want to be able to use all this space. But we do try and keep them wet. We do. Do you think for the most part? I would say half and half. Some of yours are in something with drainage and others aren't.
Yeah. So half of mine are in just the containers they came in. I think it's just a peat moss base solution. I don't really know. But then half of them I have in the unfertilized pond, just sitting in
And they're in like just like a plastic saucer that
Yeah.
you would put like under a pot, which I think works great because pings, and people are sometimes surprised to see this because they're like, oh my God, it doesn't have any roots. It fell out. And I'm like, they have very shallow root systems. They don't like it's really an odd ratio sometimes with how giant the ping can be, and just has like,
it's like if you just took like a flower and just like put it on the ground.
yeah, essentially. So then you can have them in pretty shallow pots. You can have them in something like without drainage. If mine fill up too much, I just kind of like dump them into like the next pot, you know? I'm like, just share.
In mine, I find that when they're like flooded, as long as it's not like over the leaves, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll soak it up. It'll evaporate anyways in the air, regardless. But what I think some people are shocked to learn too, and some people get away without this, but they do like a little bit more of a like rocky or a sandy soil mixture. I mean, they do well. Obviously, you said in like the unfertilized pond, just anything chunky like that. Sometimes it'll be like half perlite, half cocoa coir, cocoa peat or something, but just something more, I don't know, something that those roots can actually grab onto, because if they're just sitting in that like peat, it's just kind of meh. It's not very good.
Then they get a little bit too, then that's when the rot happens, when they're too.
I feel like sometimes mine have rotted just from like, I have horrible airflow in my cabinets, and pings really like airflow. So when I have mine in like the way back corner and I haven't like opened my cabinets to air them out too much, then a couple of them have rotted. None that I've really cared about that much, but
yeah, I need to order more fans.
Me too. I still need to figure out the one for my big grow tent. I did kind of figure it out, but I was a little bit annoyed to figure out that I had to buy something else to hang it up. That Vivo Sun, come on. I'm calling you out by name.
They want you to buy every little tiny piece. I'm like,
why don't you? Because you can also buy these kits, but it comes with so much stuff you actually don't need
unless you're growing weed. Like,
it's a lot. I'm like, come on. I'm really cheap. I just got my trays. Come on. But a good amount of light, like I said, like a windowsill will be like sufficient, but it's not gonna like help the ping like thrive and grow like crazy.
It would need like a full south direct light, like full cactus level sunshine.
Yeah, if you wanted it to like color up. But if you just want it to be there to catch some like sink bugs, some like flies here and there, you can have it in your window if that's where you're going to remember to water it. They do prefer distilled water. I do find they aren't as picky as other carnivorous plants can be, because I actually went like a whole year just or more using tap water, and they were fine. None of them died. Like they were just great. They were doing fine.
And then I feel like pings are very easy to save too. If they are dying, you can be like, oh, we're just going to pop off the top piece of you and just let you do your thing.
Yeah. Plus, if it's like, if some of the bottom leaves start dying off, then, or it might go into dormancy, then it's just like, okay, like see you later. It's not dead. And what I like about them too is when they are in their dormancy, they are alive and still growing.
Yeah, they're
don't
still cute.
Look dead. Yeah,
they just look like little succulents.
And apparently, you know what I learned recently? I learned something new.
Ooh.
The succulent phase is actually better to do a pulling from, because they have more energy in them.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So
they're just like storing it up.
Yeah, so they're really, because a lot of people think that they're succulents when they first see them, and they kind of look like succulents. They sometimes act like succulents when they're in their dormancy, but they propagate just like them. You do your little pulling, and then you just set it on soil or anything. They're really not picky about what they're on, as long as there's like some moisture. It could literally be in a little closed container.
It's like literally the plant where if I disturb it, and I'm like, normally I like drop a plant, I'm like, shit. But with a ping, it just kind of falls apart, and then it just was like, oh, now we got 10 plants. Ooh, here we are.
I actually saw someone set up a bunch of propagations. Like it looked like a big like brownie tray, and they had them all divided into like a bunch of different quadrants, and then they just had like ping pullings like crazy, like in each one, and then they had each one labeled. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to like do like a crap ton. It is kind of sad though, because I feel like my ping pulling rate could be better. I feel like a little over half of them do well and the others die.
I mean, it's like any other skill. Like when I first started propagating any plant, I couldn't figure it out.
But now that I know about the succulent phase thing, maybe the ones that are dormant, I'm like, okay, you're not going to be like growing, then you're going to make babies for me, putting you to work. I'm just going to like keep pulling them.
It's like the Sims basement where they're slaving away painting.
One of the greatest things I think about pings, I just keep saying this, but they're flowers. They're the cutest thing.
They are wild.
They bring me so much joy. A lot of the shapes remind me of like the SpongeBob flower, where like in the sky, in the ocean, where they like do those like weird like cartoon flowers. A lot of them are like exactly that shape. There's not like, I mean, I feel like there's a pretty wide variety of colors. I was about to be like, there's not that many. There's a lot of like different pinks and a lot of purples. But when they come in, usually the color's like the most intense when it opens up. Like if there's some that have like a little bit of purple in them, it'll be most intense when it opens up, and then it'll kind of like fade off to white or like fade off to a lighter color. They don't last like super long. I mean, it's longer than like a couple days, but
sometimes they get into that where they're like popping out 10 flowers in a row. Like
when you have a bunch at once, it is so fun. But I will, I beware when you try and pull off.
That is
dry flower.
That is how I've
learned your lesson.
That is how I've destroyed more pings than any other way. Is trying to pull off those, because they get like gross, and you're like, hey, you got to get rid of this. But then you pull it, and the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah, it's a dry ass flower. And you try and pull it, and the ping's like, excuse me, that's mine. Like, please don't. And you pull the whole ping out because it's not rooted very much. So, but I've been potting a lot of mine in cute little things.
You got so many cute pots to put them in.
Like fun little like candles, like the dollar section candles at Target. I've been going crazy for them. I'm always checking for the like $3 candles because they're in such cute little vessels, and it's like the perfect size. You can even put like a couple pings in there, and they look so cute. I just love them. Let me go back to my thing. Propagation. So another fun thing about pings, there's just 100 fun things about them, is instead of doing like ping pullings, if you want to get multiple pings, you could just wait for it to split, and it turns into multiple pings. How fun is that?
When I will never forget the first time you split up my pings. I'm watching you do it. You're like literally like ripping a chicken nugget in half. I was like, what are you doing?
I know. I was like, oh, I can pull this apart. And I like manhandle it and just like rip. And I'm like, boom. And then I was like, I'm taking this one. But it's so fun. I mean, like even the one on the end there, you could like easily pull that apart. I mean, multiple
that
of yours
one's
are
ready to
splitting
go.
up. It's pretty easy. I mean, some people ask me how I know. I mean, I feel like it'd be tough. Like you have that really full one there that's like 10. I wouldn't even want to try tackling that until it were like bigger or like more awake, because it looks maybe dormant. I don't know. It's so hard to tell when they get like bigger. I'm like, are you dormant?
Yeah,
or are you just
that one's
like, really
for sure
compact?
dormant.
But I try and wait for a couple like clear rosettes to be formed, because I had one that just. I'll post a thing when we have this episode up. A big thing about pings. But my lilac lollipop ping just split, and I can just see like the two like centers are right next to each other. I'm like, those are nowhere near being ready to pull apart. But I feel like some people would get really eager and be like, oh my God, 2 pings, and pull them apart. It's tough. I do have a video of pulling them apart, like a different ping, but it was a really horrible angle. So it's just like, I just took my phone and like put it on the ground and was like, here you go. But I mean, it's not that hard. You just kind of, because they don't have that many roots.
No, they're very easy to pull apart. They're like...
Yeah. You just grab onto both sides. And if it doesn't, like, because you kind of have to make sure that the leaves aren't like stuck together. Like, so I just like kind of get both in both hands and tug a little bit. And if they don't want to pull apart, if it feels like it's actually going to like explode and fall apart instead, then I just leave it. I'm like, okay, I'll try later. But...
And I find that like if I just do... Because sometimes there'll be like a bunch, and I'm tempted to do more than one pull. And I'm like, no, just split it in half and let it be. There's like 3 in each, but that's okay. I'll just let them do your thing.
Did you see on my story I pulled some apart and made like 6 pings? Yeah, this orb. I was like, okay, it's finally time.
Oh, yeah. That is ready to go.
Look at all those pings out of that one. That's so crazy. Like, they just look like whole-ass pings. And they are. And they all had their own roots. I was so proud. And I only had like 3 pullings that fell off.
Oh.
Can you believe that? Only 3, and I'm sure they're gonna propagate fine. I mean, maybe not because they're not dormant. So we'll see. But I don't know. You love learning something new. Pollination.
You're the expert on this. I've still been too afraid to try.
I had to read so much, like, because I have the little. I mean, not like a lot, but I read the same thing like over and over again. I'm like, I need to know. I need to know that this is correct. Because an easier way to do it and pollinate it is you actually kind of have to like rip the petals off. And that's not fun. You know, you want to keep your petals. But okay, so you know what's the little tail that sticks off in the back?
Yeah.
That and the petals are one unit. So when you like pull the thing off, it comes off with that like back flap. And then like all the little parts that are like in the flower on the end of that stem are where all the magic happens. My God, Cece, she's just crying out there. But it's a really weird concept. So there's like, I should have actually looked up the names of like the parts of the flower because now I'm not going to remember. But you just grab the, what's it called? Pollen. You grab the pollen and you just like slap it on this thing and that's it. Yeah. You don't have to it's not like anthuriums where you have to like have one flower ready and then the other ready at the same time. You can pollinate just one.
So it's like a regular flower.
Yeah. God, Cece. If you're doing the take a shot every time Cece interrupts, you're probably fucked up now. She was excited to see me though. She's like, I want to hang out with Nicole. I did only successfully pollinate 2 flowers so far, and I think sadly my second batch where I had more seeds, I think I let them dry out too much. I'm really pissed because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have so many things.
So you waited too long to extract the seeds?
I got them at the right time, but I just wasn't keeping the substrate as wet.
Oh, yeah.
So I was, because usually it took about, like from when I put them on the soil, for the other ones, it took about 2 weeks for me to be able to like see them with my eyeballs start popping up. And I haven't seen the other. It's been like a month, and I'm like, I just need to. I need to give up. It's not happening. So I'm kind of bummed, but it'll be fine. We'll do it again. But then that's how people make like new breeds. Obviously, you can just take some pollen from one and then slap it on another.
Pop it on the other one.
Mm-hmm. The ones that I actually did pollinate, though, I didn't take off the flower. Some it's easier than others because some it's almost like cone shaped, like the flower kind of like jets out a little bit. Yeah,
it's like a little funnel.
So it's kind of like in the way. So some of them I noticed like, yeah, I need to take the flower off to do it. And some of them like the petals are just right there and I can whatever. But
just stick it in.
Just try it out. Do you you have any favorite species? I don't know if you've learned. You have the labels on some of them.
Yeah. I really like the cyclosecta. That one's really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Cyclosecta, for you people listening, is the purple one. That's like the classic purple one. And then most purples are made from that. It's usually some type of cyclosecta hybrid.
And then I really like the one that is no ID, but it has a pink flower. I think it's the second to last one because it has like red around the edges of the...
I've been obsessed with that one, and if you split it up, I want a piece of it.
I mean, it will be split up at some point.
It's so cute.
It seems to be growing very fast.
I don't know how much I can move with this, but I want to stare at them. I don't know what these ones are that I'm staring at, but I think it's some type of emarginata.
Those you gave me, so those are all from you. So if you know what yours are, then...
I don't know what those are. And actually one of those is the one of mine that had thrips. I feel like the one, your Florian, looks like it's dormant.
Oh, the Florian is cute too.
So cute. And the Johanna. The Florian and the Johanna are like I think they're both miniature varieties, but they're both really pink, really cute. So the one that's actually the sought after expensive one that I keep like sending to you is the raspberry blonde. I just can't believe that thing is like $75.
Which really isn't probably that bad.
I know. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, we've spent more on plants. And it's a plant just like the other plants that we have. But it's so small. And I'm like, oh my God, $75? When people are paying like over $100 for like a node.
Well, like that Florian, I think was like $25. And it's like literally smaller than my pinky nail.
I
Or when I
Glad
got
it's
it.
alive.
When I got it, it was like, I don't know, like the size of like a toenail.
We could barely see them. They have grown up quite a bit, even though they're so tiny. When you look back at pictures, they were like smaller than your pinky nail, seriously. So they have grown up quite a bit. I think that I don't know if it's my Florian or my Johanna, because I can't tell them apart without their labels, is growing up a lot. And it's so cute. Take a shot for every time we say cute.
Literally. The pings are the cutest plants.
Objectively. I mean, I think that they're even cuter than orchids, because orchids still have a little bit of a creepy vibe.
Yeah, I don't think orchids are cute. I think classes of plants that are generally in cute, I would say like peperomias are kind of cute.
I will say, though, I feel like I feel myself getting into the orchids soon. I was talking to David, and I was like, I kind of want like a miniature variety. And then you know what fucking popped up on my just plant interwebs? Twice in one day. I had never seen this plant before. And then it pops up twice in one day. What the hell? Okay, I'm trying to look it up now. My phone's like, meow, meow, meow. And let me know if you've seen this before.
I was like, yep, that's the one I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so cool, but it is so expensive.
So for people listening, do you know that? Does it say the name of it? Can you even say it?
Of course it doesn't.
Oh yeah, everyone in the comments is like, what is this? What is this? What is this? When I saw it on Facebook, someone actually said the name of it, but it wasn't the specific variety. It was just like the genus. But it is a type of terrestrial miniature orchid.
Yeah.
But for people listening, it looks like almost like the string of hearts. Heart.
Yes.
Like that's what the leaf looks like to me, unless that's just the part of the flower. I don't know. And then it has this like, I don't know, like burgundy flower thing with like spikes coming off from it.
It looks like a little alien popping out of the ground.
Yeah. And of course, there's no caption on this. And everyone's like, what is this? But I'm like, the plant world is like, you need to like orchids. You need to like orchids. They just had an orchid festival and show here. We were busy. So disappointed.
Well, the orchid festival here is like a very, like it's a prestigious one from my gatherings. Like it's like a big deal.
Big deal.
In the orchid world.
It was actually kind of funny because when I was working at PQ and I wasn't able to go that day, some dude came in and he was like, I actually organized the orchid festival and show over in Oregon. And I was like, oh, are you here for the show this weekend? And he's like, what? And I'm like, there's an orchid show this weekend, like at Como. He was like, oh my God, no way. He was from out of town. So I was like,
you'd think that's why he was here.
I don't know. I'm like, anywhere I am out of town, I'm there for plants. We haven't talked about this, but I think we're going to be going to PlantCon, Brandon.
Oh. I know you told me about it, but I just didn't ask.
I hopped on a call with the team and everything. It's kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah. Like, yeah, they got like an Airbnb for all the plant influencers. It's kind of nuts. It's
my God.
And they want us to be on a panel.
Oh, panels.
We might even do a live podcast recording if things get crazy.
That would be fun.
That's scary though. It's the people who run the Houston plant market. They know what they're doing. They're so organized. And I'm excited. It'd be kind of cool. But they wanted to I feel like it's going to be like a VidCon thing where they want it to kind of travel around. Like Gabriella's Plants has already been like, we want our hands on that. But I'm like, I want it to be up in Minneapolis. I'm like, we have a team of people up here ready to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people love plants up here. So there's our little tangent. Let's talk about where to buy pings, because I think that besides the care and just what is a ping, that is like
getting
the number one question.
Getting your hands on one
I get.
is the hardest part.
Yes. I would say they're uncommon for a plant, I guess, because you're not going to see them at every greenhouse. You don't even really see carnivorous plants at every greenhouse, but when you do, it's usually not pings. Yeah. It's usually
the basic Venus flytrap.
Pitcher plants, if you're lucky, you'll get some Nepenthes.
Maybe some sundews.
Yeah, and if they are sundews, they're usually the like boring varieties. Tongadale is finally starting to get in like a bunch of, I don't know, pitcher plants and Dracaeras and stuff that are like the small little cute guys. But
they were the first place I've ever seen Sarracenas before.
I'm like, can we get some pings? That'd be really nice. But anyways, so all the ones that I have gotten mostly have been online. You did find some, or was it who found them? Was it you or Sam at Waters?
I had found out that they had had them. But then Sam went there first and was like,
yeah, they posted online about them.
She's
like, there's a fuck ton.
Yeah, because I thought they'd be like, oh, here's a couple. No, they're like, here's 20 different varieties.
Them. Yeah, and he showed her the propagation list and was like, let me know which ones you want. And I'm like, okay. So if you're over in like the Neenah area.
Neenah Menasha.
So if you're in Wisconsin, you want to go over to Neenah.
Neenah.
I just think about the candle lady. I wish I could. I can't even. I was going to try and think of a quote from that video of the girl. She's like, "Oh, Jen, you're going to get your ass reamed." So Waters Greenhouse in Wisconsin. That's a special little place. But okay, don't knock your local Facebook groups until you try it, because a lot of local collectors, if they have a bunch, they're going to sell them to you for way cheaper than the online shops will, most likely. You can get them for like $5, $10 rather than like 20 to 30. And you might even get them in actual substrate. Usually when you order them online,
ready to go.
When you order them online, I've 100% of the time they've come bare root. So thankfully I'm kind of smart and I will order an extra little bag of soil. They'll just like, it's cheap. They'll send you a little plastic baggie, all you need. But I'm like, because I will stress and I'm like, I'll be like, oh my God, I don't have the right soil. And then they'll sit there and die.
Yep. And then you'll freeze and you'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I would do. So I'm like, you got to be prepared for them to come bare root. They know what they're doing. These are my recommendations. California carnivores, obviously. I would say they probably have some of the widest variety. I'll say that again, California carnivores. If it skipped out on you or if you coughed, I don't know. They actually just moved greenhouses recently. Fun fact. So they just did a big move and they've been like showing off all their things. They actually fit, I think most, if not all their pings in one big truck. And think like all these things, think about it, like you're not really meant to stack these on top of each other. So when they show the like truck, it's just like a giant truck and then like pings all over the ground in trays.
Oh my God, you know what would have been a perfect way to, like, you know, like in a restaurant where they have like the rolly carts where they put like all the desserts, like put them on the rolly cart of desserts.
Yeah. Oh my God. You wonder if there was any like bumps in the road and the pings just go bloop, right out of the pot. So besides California carnivores, I would say they're probably more expensive, but another one is rainbow carnivorous plants. They used to be called something else. Like when I first ordered from them off Etsy, they were not rainbow carnivorous plants.
All these plant places be changing their names.
Yeah, rainbow carnivorous plants. I think if you go on their website, I think that's the one that looks really outdated. Sorry. I don't want to be mean, but let me show you this, Brandon. Rainbow carnivorous plants. And the one thing about rainbow carnivorous plants, y'all, is I'm pretty sure you always get a free ping with your order.
Oh.
Like a whole ass free extra ping. We love that. Let me get this website to load. It's taking forever.
Our internet has been very slow the last few days.
But besides them, wait, are you looking at it now?
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Neopets.com.
Neopets.
Oh no.
I will say, like, it's not hard to navigate.
No,
I mean,
it's like I could have already purchased something by now. I've been on the site for 10 seconds.
Like it's well organized. Like I see everything. They've got good pictures. You know, like I feel like often when I look online for specific pictures of pings, often their like stock photos show up.
Oh yeah, these are like all good photos. You can like very much see what they are.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you order from them, from my experience, the pings have been pretty big because you kind of never know. Like you'll see pictures of like a very good looking version of that ping, and you're probably going to get like a really tiny version of it. One place that I have not ordered from yet, but I really, really want to because everyone keeps posting about ordering from them and I just want to, is Curious Plant.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Curious Plant is out of Ohio.
I mean, I very well could have heard of it, but you know, I retain information for about 2 minutes.
I think they're also one that like has, I mean, all carnivorous plants. I think most of these websites have like all the different carnivorous plants, but they're just like really good ones for pings. Shopper collection.
Because I feel like a lot of carnivorous plant websites, and you click the ping section, it's just blank.
Oh yeah, this is the website that reminds me of the Tonkadale website. It looks like the Tonkadale website, but like made into a carnivorous plant website. So,
it really does.
But I think their pictures generally are pretty good too.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, these people know what they're doing. They usually, when you get them like in the mail, they'll have them in those little like dip to go containers, like the little plastic.
The little ramekins.
Yeah.
Is it ketchup or is it a ping?
Who knows? And usually they'll have them like the bare rooted ping wrapped in like a little very lightly damp paper towel. It's usually not completely dry by the time I get it. And then those are wrapped up really well and hopefully like insulated a little bit. So usually like if those bang around in there, the ping's usually still going to stay put, which is nice. Isn't that one cool?
There's so many cool ones. I was like, I got to stop scrolling or I'm just going to like completely zone out.
One that because I've had a couple of varieties that have died that I've been really upset about. One being my Hanka, Pinguicula Hanka. It has a really, really cool flower, and I didn't even get to see it flower, and I'm really pissed. This is what it looks like. I think you may have remember when I had this one. I put it in that thing, and it has a very like wavy flower.
I remember you showing me a picture of that flower when you got it.
Yeah, what the fuck? Because I think that one's really similar to the raspberry blonde, and like this one's $24 versus like the $75 raspberry blonde. Thankfully the Cyclosecta seems to be more accessible now. I think that one used to be always way more expensive. The green varieties, like the plain green varieties, are always going to be probably the cheapest. What are the other ones that I like? I have the Gina. She's one of mine that has spider mites. This, I think we both have one of these. I know I do for sure. I can't say the name of it. That starts with the J.
I don't think I do.
Mine is really tiny, and I'm just starting to see the little, like...
Oh, the little red veining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now looking at the strawberry blonde flower, I get it.
You get it. It's like, when I see pictures of them, I'm like, holy crap, that's a big flower.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's hot.
Is that worth $70?
I don't know. If you're local and you're listening to this, we'll cut any plan for you. Hit us up. I just don't want to pay for that because I know how easily some of them can just die off. I mean, it just happens. Some of them are way hardier than others. And also some varieties I think like to be more wet than others. I feel like, I think you have mostly the rosette forming ones, but there are some that are like long and squid-like. I think that tend to like it a little bit more wet.
Tentacly.
Yeah, tentacly. Really creepy. Oh, the condoy is also a really cool flower. Are you fucking kidding me? Why is this one only $18? It's not loading, but you can kind of see it down there.
Oh my God, it looks like my eyes since they get so red and bloodshot.
Like just veiny eyes. Creepy. Yeah, and they just have like really cool margins. I like them. So usually when I like how they look without the flower. Like the ones that I buy them for how they look with and without the flower.
The flowers are like quite literally the cherry on top.
Yeah, like I still want them to be cute, but a lot of the breeding that goes into them, they're just looking for really stunning flowers and cool colors. And then like sometimes the pings that come out of that are not very interesting looking to me. So that's just my opinion.
It's my opinion.
I think I've kind of touched on everything I need to touch on. Some people, instead of having them in soil, they'll have them growing on a rock.
Yes.
They'll have them usually on some type of pumice stone thing. I've heard that lava rock isn't as porous for some people. Like it doesn't draw up water as easily as like...
So you'd have to have like more of a shallow lava rock.
Yeah, some people actually drill a hole in it and then put a little bit of moss and then put the ping in there. Just so that it like grabs onto the moss and it's like getting a good amount of water in there. And then eventually the roots will stretch out. Have you seen like the roots like coming out on the sides being all weird? They're like white and they look like the little plastic like feet that come out.
Because one of those does that. Maybe they've worked their way into the dirt, but it was like I was like too lazy to really like work it in. So it's like just
Some
on
of them
top.
will just like stretch out. And I'm like, do your thing, whatever. You do you, girl.
Yeah, if you are local to Minneapolis, one of our friends, Reagan, they do a beautiful job making arrangements, Dirt and Dionysus on Instagram. And I think that's the website too.
They have a Etsy, I think, right? But they they come with the motor, so you can
It's
actually
like-
have the water
it's like-
pumping through.
And you can make your own. It's so
Mhm.
fun.
You choose your rock and the size of like the tray that you want. The only reason why I haven't yet is, like I mentioned, I don't have great airflow, and I'd really want it to be under grow lights, So I just feel like having a pump of water
Yeah, it's dirtanddionysus.com.
would just get it icky, But that's just
Oh my
me.
God, look at how cute the
It's
website
beautiful.
is. I'm obsessed.
So a lot of carnivorous plant people, or people that grow like small little indoor bog things, will have these like, I guess like it'll literally just be like your tank, like your fish tank size.
Yeah.
And they'll just have like a big light over it, and it'll just be a bunch of plants in there.
Well, okay, I got to take you there.
Where?
There's a new fish store, literally across the street from Bachman's on Lindale.
Ooh.
And they have
That's good because your fish hookup closed.
they have shallow bog tanks there,
Oh.
and they're really cool.
I just think about, like, if I had any type of tank, I think the cats would be horrendous.
Yeah.
But I also have a bit more adventurous cats. Like, you obviously don't have to worry about Cece and Clifford, like, wanting to get up
No,
that.
not at all.
Both of my cats would try and jump in.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them.
Well, and it's really cool, too, because, like, fish stores are usually kind of creepy and weird, and you're like, oh, this
Oh,
is
do you remember when we went to that weird, like, backdoor fish,
Yes.
shrimp place?
Yeah. It's like, you're just like...
Like, a whole family was in there, and they were kind of like, what are you doing here? And we're like, we're trying to shop.
Like, most fish stores are like, I don't know. They're, like, meant for cis straight white bros, like that's just the vibe.
And like rich dude, like people who just don't really care.
Yeah, and it's just like uncomfortable, but it's beautiful. It's in this beautiful building. It has really great lighting. They have beautiful tanks, and they all have benches in front of them, so you can just sit and like watch the tank, and they have like really relaxed
fishy museum.
They have like it's set up like a museum, and like there's like really nice relaxing music,
I love that.
and like everything is, these tanks are beautiful. Like pet stores, it's like the tanks are usually like gross.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like throw the fish
and,
in.
and it's like half the fish are dead and they're floating in there, and you're like,
and they have
okay?
some of the most beautiful fish ever. So I have to go back there and get some more fish. And they have assassin snails. Finally, I found a place that has assassin snails.
Oh yeah, how's your snail problem going?
It's 12 out of 10 out of control.
Did you get rid of any of your scrimps? I saw you posted locally.
No, because most of the people, like, it just didn't work that I had reached out, like, the timing. And I was like, well, let me know anytime, please.
Like, please take my shrimp. I think that's all I've got on pings. You got anything else to say?
Ping, pang, pong.
Get your pings. I just love them. And tag me if you love them too. I love when people give me their little updates and they're like, I got a ping because of you. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope you love them. Yeah, I just like plants that bring joy. And that's definitely a plant that brings joy.
They're just so easy. And all you got to do is just make sure that there's some water in there.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's more rewarding than your typical foliage plant.
Yeah.
It's a little more fun. It's just like more to check on every day. I mean, a new flower will just pop out of nowhere.
Like, literally, you're like, where did this come from? And then you come back the next day and there's 4. And you're like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Just fun. Where can people find you on the interwebs? Brandon.
You can find me at Brandon Botanical on Instagram, YouTube, and the TikTok. I'm now a beauty influencer now, so if you like makeup, I now post some makeup content on there because apparently people think that I don't know, they like my style because I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just going to say, get this, don't get this.
I forgot to tell you I got the telescopic mascara.
How did you like it? The consensus I've heard is like B+. Like, it's good, but not that great.
So I think it all comes down to taste because, some people...
They just open that mascara and stick it in their mouth, and if it tastes good.
It comes down to what you like in a mascara. Yeah. I don't like a wet mascara.
It looks very wet.
It is...
moist.
Yeah, and the spoolie or whatever the hell doesn't have a whole lot of grippies on it. So like it just is slathered on there.
That would be Clump City on me.
You've used it twice and I've gotten it all over my face both times. Like in the process, I will say it didn't like transfer onto my eyelid like mine usually does that. No matter what I use, even my Dior one, it'll just be up there because I got sweaty eyelid. I don't know if it's just because like I know not all people's eyelashes will like go up there and touch them, but I'm just always looking at people like this. I guess
the lids of a ping.
Yeah, it's just a little greasy one up there. So It wasn't horrible, but I definitely had to like scrape off some excess before I used it because I was like, holy shit. But I know new mascaras are always going to be like really, really wet at first, but that was a nightmare anyways. So yeah, go look at Brandon's beauty videos.
Oh yeah, and BrandonBotanical.com.
Mm-hmm.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest at Nicole Larson Grows. And go follow our podcast at Where Are We Growing?
Instagram and website.
Mm-hmm, that's our website. That's the thing. Bye. We're like, where's our music?
Oh, it's there.
It's there somewhere.
Oh, we got some time. So let me pull up a review really quick.
Goodness. How quick can Brandon be?
We've got a whole 30 seconds. So I think I can do this in 30 seconds. Here we go. Okay. We're just going to read the newest one. I'm so excited I found the show. Brandon and Nicole are two of my favorite TikTokers to watch online. I never listen to podcasts, but I'm listening to podcasts all day. They're entertaining and while providing great information. I also love that they are neurodivergent and can totally relate to all the things they discuss. I will totally be binging all the episodes. Thank you. Can't leave without it.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.